Whipping and swerving, hitting them curves, cause I'm on my way to come get you. The way that you serve it, making me nervous. Nobody give me this feeling. We don't do dates, but we can relate, cause we just be.
Okay guys, so I'm starting with my 613 wig by Volys Virgo hair. I'm going to link this wig in the description box below. I'm going to use the Adore Lavender dye in the number 90, a clear bucket, and some hot water. So just pouring the hot water into the clear bucket. By the way, I'm using a clear bucket so that you guys can just see the color of the dye in the water. I wouldn't put too much water into the bucket just because you want that blonde hair to be able to grasp on as much as the color as possible. So you can use like a spoon or something, anything you want to use, whatever, to mix the color up. I would recommend putting just small amounts of dye in the water at first so that you can make sure that you're not making the color of your wig too strong if you don't want it that strong. So another recommendation for you guys would be just to take a small strand of the hair in the back of the wig or something like that, just to test out the color of the water, because if it's not to your liking, or it's way too light, or it's way too dark, this will give you the chance to correct that mistake instead of you dipping the entire wig in there and then messing the entire wig up. So I would definitely recommend just testing the water out, because as you can see, I'm pouring some more dye into the water because I didn't like how light the strands were. So I'm just gonna retest another strand of hair, and once this comes out, I definitely did like how the color looked now. So now that you can see the difference in the colors of the strands, I'm going to go ahead and dip the entire wig in there, and just be sure to try to like submerge the wig into the water just so that that color can spread evenly throughout the entire wig. I would recommend taking a comb and try combing the wig through the water, or using your fingers and separating the wig hairs within the water, just so that the color can kind of coat and stretch to every area of the hair. Because as you can see, by me just dipping the hair into the water, the color was more so going onto the surface or the top of the hair, and it wasn't really getting all of the strands that were underneath the hair. So the top was purple, but underneath was like still blonde. So now that I got finished dipping the wig the first time, I did notice that it was still a little bit too light for me. And this is where that tip that I was telling you guys about not putting too much dye into the water comes in handy. Because now that I know that the wig is too light, I can put a little bit more dye into the water and kind of darken it little by little without being afraid that I pour too much dye into the water. So I poured some dye into the water, submerged it again, but then I noticed that a lot of those blonde hairs that you see surfacing are still there. So what I decided to try to do was pour some more dye into the bucket, mix it up a little bit, and I tried to expose those lighter hairs that are underneath. So you see me kind of like combing the darker hairs to the side and exposing those blonder hairs. So I'm going to dip those blonder hairs first, and I was hoping and praying that this worked, that by exposing those blonder hairs and dipping those first, it would dye the back of the hair evenly to the front of the hair, and it worked. So here I was just checking to make sure there was no more blonde hairs left, and I'm just combing the wig out. This wig does not tangle whatsoever, and I love the way it came out. I cannot wait to install this wig.